Alright everyone, welcome back to the channel for another update on GalaGames. So, since our last update, we did have a run to the upside since our last prediction. Once again, solidifying another lower high in terms of the market structure. If we pull up your EMA ribbons, you can see on the daily time frame, every single time we do this, come into the EMA ribbons, come into the EMA ribbons, come into them. And quite recently, again, we came into them. Every single time you do this, you solidify a lower high. So the market structure is absolutely unchanged. What has changed is the head and shoulders prediction that we talked about since our last episode. So this trend line is definitely still in play. Nonetheless, I just don't think there's any way that you can draw this out for this head and shoulders to be valid anymore. So I am going to be removing this head and shoulders. This one didn't play out. My price prediction for the head and shoulders in the immediate short term, I will also get rid of. Let's look at some other Fibonacci levels because we were previously looking at the breakdown for this head and shoulders. So like I've been saying, when we were all the way back here, this was my last macro prediction over on GalaGames 9 cent. We were predicting the move all the way down to 2 cent. This is still in play. We're still solidifying lower lows, lower highs in the market structure. And actually, you know, drawing our fib from our most recent mid to macro low all the way up to this high, you can see your 786 Fibonacci was right here at this orange horizontal line in the sand. What did we do? We ran to the upside. We lollygagged on the 618 for ages. We lost it, rejected from the 786, broke up, rejected from the 618, broke down, double 786, and then once again, coming right back into that 786 Fibonacci and solidifying another lower high. If we remove all the drawings and simply look at the price action, I talked about this before, but this is just a whole massive M in my opinion. I mean, if we look at the price action, you can just see there's an M over here. You've kind of got these ME formations as you break down here. Once again, you've got another hill, which is reminiscent of an M over here. This was basically just a straight line down. Up here, you can see huge run to the upside, huge run back down, bounce up, M back down over here. You've got another M pattern playing out. If we zoom into the price action, you can see this one was a little bit ugly. The peak was definitely a lot higher than this one, but nonetheless, still an M pattern. And then what we're doing quite recently, if we go over on the daily, I can't see this being an M pattern. On the 4-hourly time frame, on the 4-hourly time frame, this is definitely just another massive M that's playing out, and we're literally coming down to the neckline of this right now. So let me clear up my chart and see what we're working with. On the 4-hourly time frame as well, you can see that your squeeze momentum indicator is massively heading to the downside. So talking about momentum, let's see, you know, did the weekly time frame change whatsoever when we did have this quote-unquote relief rally to the upside? Because looking at the weekly time frame, it barely seems like we moved, and I think if we switch this over to the Heikonashis, you can still see we're in no man's land. You know, a lot of people are saying, you know, the bull market started. If you're not buying right now, you're missing out. We haven't even had our first green weekly candle over on the Heikonashi, so I would definitely advise caution. For the last 16 weeks, GalaGames has been trending to the downside, and it does not look like it is slowing down in the immediate short term. If we once again clear this up, make sure I've got all my data for the next time I do need this chart, clear up the drawings. What are the VPVRs saying? Let's go over to the daily time frame. So for the visible range, you've already capitulated below the most major area. There's not a lot holding us down on the daily time frame beneath us. We're actually going to have to pull up the fixed range because we literally have nothing beneath this. So let me make sure fixed range for the volume profiles. If we draw this from our low all the way up to our high, we've literally got, yeah, I mean, as you can see, this is on the weekly time frame, and you know, we barely spent any time trading around these regions, so it more or less just seems like a big slow rug to the downside at this moment in time. I don't mean rug as in the developers of rug, I just mean the literal sense of rug, that, you know, the floor is kind of being swept below your feet right now. You've got a big old cluster down here. If we move over to the daily time frame, for the fixed range, we're not going to be able to get it. So for the weekly time frame over on the fixed range, if I pull this back up quickly down here at 3.2 cent, this is the next major cluster over on the VPVR all the way down here. So 3 cent, 3.2 cent to be specific, would be the next cluster. Let me bring back my original chart, see where 3.2 cent is residing, see if there's any confluence. So 3 cent, 3.2 cent right here. You've got another massive area of support down here, which I will keep in this green and red box. Let's draw from the most recent market structure, see if we've got any Fibonacci's down there. Your 1.618 would actually be coming all the way down to basically 3.3. So round it up, 3.3 and 3.2. And what I mean by this is, 3.2 cent, 3.3 cent respectively. So in the immediate short term from where we are, I'm going to mark this orange for a Fibonacci, remove our original fib from our low to high. From the price range from where we're at right now, in the immediate short term, meaning what I expect to come into fruition for Gala within the next 1 to 2 weeks, is a further 36.65% capitulation to the downside. Bear in mind, we'll move on to some of our other momentum indicators and oscillators in just one moment, but we have to recognize, looking at the squeeze moment, we haven't had a lot of movement on this since all the way back down here. We found our local bottom 12th of May, so 4.928 cent. This is a huge level that you would absolutely want to see held in the lower time frames. Once again, pulling up our VPVR, we've basically capitulated below the most important level. So the next major area is, what a surprise, all the way down here at this previous low, where we have had major bounces with lots of buy orders coming into that market structure. So this is definitely the next level that you would want to hold in the immediate short term. 4.9 cents seems to be in play very soon. If we do look at the lower time frames, look at our momentum indicators, see how quickly we can come down to these. You can see MACD is already heading down very strongly. Money flow indicators drastically flow now on the 4-hourly time frame, so we could even expect to bounce as you do come back down to this level one more time. Once again, looking at the market structure, all you really see is a lot of eminess. So we could definitely come back down, bounce back up, have that MFI come all the way back up before another roll back round to the lower time frames. To lower prices rather. Looking at your squeeze momentum indicator, 4-hourly time frame, massively capitulating to the downside. Daily time frame only gets worse. You can see what I did actually want to show you over on the money flow indicator is, if we come all the way back since the price or the price action, we're not necessarily looking at the price action, we're looking at how overextended we were on the money flow indicator. But nonetheless, when you do drop it, you can see typically money flow index becomes this overextended, you're in a period like this. And it doesn't necessarily mean you have to go all the way down, but it does mean that money has to predominantly flow out of the market for a decent period in time before you can expect another run to the upside. So when you do see the money flow top, what I was trying to show you was on the daily time frame. We originally topped over here at basically 97, showing extreme strength at that time, but also tying in with being extremely overbought. So once again, we're coming into valuations up here at 97. Where was the next peak? The next peak was just below 96. Where was the next peak from there? 87. Where was the next peak from there? 74. Where was the next peak from there? As you can see, we've just recently hit it at 66. Every single time we seem to come into these macro lower highs rather over on the money flow index for GalaGames, you always massively capitulate. Not the RSI, rather the money flow indicator, the MFI, always seems to head back down to its valuation round about 20. So in the immediate short term, the money flow indicator, meaning the amount of volume that can flow out of these markets in correlation to the price action going down, is dramatically high. Higher time frames like the weekly, you can actually see it's very beat down. You have to also bear in mind there's a decent amount of inflation in GalaGames, so volume doesn't necessarily have to come in for the price action to head to the downside. If we do tie all of what we've been talking about in with Bitcoin right now, because I do want people to recognize that whether we do break down to the downside, whether we break to the upside, this is solely hingent on what Bitcoin does in really the next 24 to 48 hours. Bitcoin has broken above. There's two different ways you can draw this. This is how I had two different charts for this. So if I find the original one, this is what I originally drew. This was what I was predicting a while ago, and you can actually see this is perfectly played out. We talked about this at 21,000, talking about the move back up, 33,300. We came up there, overshot it a bit, and now it's starting to head to the downside. So let's look at what we've got going on over on the Bitcoin price right here. Bitcoin has come up to the top of this bear flag, got over exuberant, and we've had a failed move. Now, I always say this on my channel, failed move equals a fast move in the opposite direction. We got rejected. We're confirming this rejection. We're coming down. There's lots of volume stepping into the market right now. We didn't manage to break free from our VPVR zone, and now we're heading to the downside. So it's pretty much as clear cut as that. Over on the Heiken Archie's on the daily as well, I really think we're getting ready for a capitulation over on Bitcoin, and you look at the oscillators on Bitcoin, and they're even more overbought than on GalaGames. I want you to also take in mind, you know, Bitcoin is down 2.3% on the daily today. GalaGames is down more than 4%. So, you know, if Bitcoin comes down another 10-20%, we can easily see this price get filled all the way down here at 3.2 cent in the immediate short term for GalaGames. I am once again expecting another major capitulation for Gala. I've kept that same energy even through every single dead cat bounce. I do not think the bottom is in. Daily time frame Heikonashis have started to switch back red as well, and once again, weekly Heikonashis, they never switched green. So at some point in time, GalaGames is definitely one of the cryptos that I do look to pick up. I am actually somewhat of a fan of the GalaGames ecosystem. I do like a lot of the partnerships they're having. I'm not a hater of GalaGames. I cover it because I myself am looking to DCA this when the market structure shows to me that we're finding a bottom. But right now, we don't even have our first week in the green over on the weekly Heikonashi. So bottom's not in. I've been saying this for a while. Lower price targets are coming very, very soon. Immediate short term for GalaGames, we're probably going to return back to that 4.9 cent. I can imagine that we can have a bounce from here in the lower time frame. So I wouldn't be shorting at this moment in time, but a major capitulation beneath this low, beneath 4.9 cent, and I could definitely be looking at shorting this on some leverage trading platforms all the way back down to 3.3 cent. I might try front run the market a bit and do it around about 3.4 to 3.5 cent. If you've also watched my other videos on GalaGames talking about where I think this is going to bottom in the bear market, then once again, I will reiterate this to you. 2 cent all the way down here. Been saying this for a while. We've had this target since all the way up at 9 cent. And once again, I'm just regurgitating it for you today while we are coming down at 5 cent. Since our last video, we're basically the exact same price. We had a fake out, came up to your 786, got rejected for, you know, a plethora of times to be honest. And now we're heading back down. So all in all, GalaGames heading to the downside. Immediate short term retest of 4.9 cent is in play. If you lose that, we're coming all the way down to 3.3 cent. This is where I think we're going to be in the next couple of weeks. Another 36 to 37% drop to the downside, and then the bear market low, what my money is on for Gala, is coming all the way down to 2 cent, where we've got a previous low structure. And once again, it's definitely a little bit tricky calling for the bear market low over on Gala, because, you know, we don't even need to look at the volume profiles for fixed ranges, visible ranges. We can just look, this is the daily time frame. This is not the weekly time frame. So you can see, you know, we've got these massive price gaps where we normally don't spend. I mean, these runs to the upside were 1 day. This run to the upside was 3 days. This run to the upside was 1, 2, 3, maybe like 5 days or a week. Most of these runs to the upside have absolutely no data traded within them. And when we do head over to the weekly time frame, you can see they're just straight runs up. So, you know, we're back in this territory that we were when GalaGames was very nascent back on the 13th of September 2021. And we don't have a lot of volume traded around these regions. So expect large amounts of volatility in these markets. And most importantly, keep your eyes on Bitcoin, because if Bitcoin breaks below this very key range at 23,300, Bitcoin takes out that floor, GalaGames is going to come down to these price targets a lot quicker than everyone is expecting. So that's all I've got for GalaGames today, my friends. I hope you did enjoy the update. I will be updating you less frequently on some of these altcoins, but I will be updating you whenever I do see a major change or anything that's worth talking about in these markets. Once again, I feel like we could simply look at the volume profiles. We could look at the rejections over on the daily EMA ribbons, look at the lower highs market structure. That is basically all we need to talk about. The data speaks for itself. Nothing's changed. Momentum is heading down. Volume is heading in. And yeah, all in all, 2 cents on the table. 3.2 cent is right around the corner. As always, my friends, Cowboy out. Peace.